We're going to begin with the latest on vaping. The FDA says teen vaping is an epidemic, and Juul Labs CEO acknowledges that his product is a big part of that problem. Roughly 1 in 5 high school students and nearly 1 in 20 middle school students, think of that, said they vaped in the last year. Only on CBS This Morning, we spoke to Kevin Burns, the CEO of Juul, the largest e-cigarette company, and we asked him what's being done to stop underage vaping. When you think of underage vaping today, youth vaping, what's it look like to you? How big is the crisis?
I think the problem is big.
Would you call it an epidemic?
I'm not going to use the same words that others have used, but it's big and concerning, and it needs to be a lot lower than it is today.
A crisis, an emergency?
I think we need to move with speed and urgency, yeah.
Do you have a sense of how big a portion of the underage market you guys are?
We don't know specifically on that, but I'm sure a big portion of the problem is attributed to Juul usage of our product.
What do you say to those families, those parents, about their teens using this product?
As I've said this before, I'm sorry that their kids are using the product, and I have empathy for them for what they're going through, dealing with their kids, trying to go through any kind of difficulties, especially in addiction to a product that has nicotine in it.
So when you say sorry, and you have said it before, sorry for what? Was it an accident? Was it a mistake? How did this happen?
Well, I said I'm sorry for the situation they're in. Again, there's never been an intention.
But you don't think Juul caused it?
Well, some people could have used our product, but there's never an intent on the company's part to target youth to grow our business. That's been the assertion.
There are families suing you saying you went after their kids as customers, your campaigns appealed to them, and now they're addicted to nicotine, maybe for life. How do you plan to respond to that?
Well, again, I don't think our campaign was ever targeted to kids. We don't need to target youth to grow our business to be successful and fulfill our mission.
Part of that mission is now keeping Juul's products away from underage shoppers.
And so you've got a fix for it, you think?
I think we have a solution which can work on this, so I'll take up.
Burns brought us to a San Francisco convenience store to show us their new initiative.
Okay, so let me scan that.
An ID verification system.
All right. Okay. This ID's expired. I cannot sell it to you at this time. I apologize.
It prohibits cashiers from selling Juul products to underage shoppers and places limits on the amount that people can buy.
You have to have a valid ID to scan to release the transaction through the system.
So if little brother walks in with his big brother's ID and hands it to him, and that ID is expired, no go.
It's not going to get a transaction completed.
Juul says more than 40,000 stores have committed to implementing these new standards, and that it plans to stop distributing its products to stores that aren't compliant by 2021. They call it the strictest verification standards for any age-restricted products in stores.
When I hear you talking about all you're doing here to combat underage use, and I think about your apology, I'm sorry to the parents who find their kids using this product. I'm sorry for the situation they're in. It sounds like you're putting the blame on the families and on the teenagers. Doesn't the blame reside with Juul?
No,
at least in part?
Yeah, I don't want to give any impression I'm blaming it on the families. I think you've got a category-wide issue. We need to be part of the solution. We have to take an active leadership role in being part of the solution.
This follows previous efforts by Juul to counter underage vaping, removing most flavors from stores, shutting down some social media accounts, and shifting its marketing to feature former smokers.
With the things you've done so far, can you say today that you think underage use will go down when the next survey comes out?
Can't say that with certainty, no. I think there's other factors that come into play. We're the only manufacturer that's taken flavors out of retail. There's been an influx now of counterfeit and compatible products coming into the marketplace. Online is still a challenge as a channel.
So you think when the 2019 numbers come out, teen use, which is already at 1 in 5 high school kids, could go up again?
I think it could go up. Yeah, that's a possibility.
Think of that, another year in which teen vaping numbers continue to go up. A couple things important to point out there. I had a fake ID in high school. This new system they have would have beaten my fake ID, so I wouldn't be buying Juul. I wouldn't be able to. Second thing, you might have heard him mention he has a teenage daughter. He's got a teenage son, too. His teenage daughter didn't want him to work for Juul, didn't think it was a good company.
Really? That's interesting.
He brought her around to meet everybody inside and said she had to be convinced that what they're about actually is public health. And the big takeaway here is he tries to take on all questions, really, for the first time, is he believes he can convince the FDA and hopefully America that Juul is a net good for public health in this country.
His argument is that they want to provide a product that cigarette users can use to wean themselves off of cigarettes. Yes. But why not make it a prescription product where you have to go to the doctor and get a prescription to get Juul rather than make it available for everyone and people to start using the product who don't smoke?
It's a great question, and maybe at some point the FDA will push it in that direction. But the Juul perspective right now is if you go into a convenience store and you have the option of buying a cigarette, you want them to have just as much easy access to the Juul alternative if switching can work. So, look, there are millions of lives at risk, and there are millions of teenagers entangled in this. So the balance of the two is really going to dictate where this goes in the years ahead.